Nearly all the people we meet today have been in and out of this building, having faced a life-altering experience in more ways than one. And for some, the journey has only just begun. The stories of these men and women are mostly of hope and optimism. Suffice to say, most didn't start in that way.
Being driver ama-trucks amabhonyeti, so khona ukuthi sengisiya ekhaya uyabusuthabile ukuthi no sengiyabona abantwana lesikhathi eside ngisekhaya nespeed sagcina sesingani siyanjani siyakhwela kakhulu. So inkinga yaba khona itire la blast, and then ukublasteni kwetire ngazama ukuyibamba imota yangikhulela, and iroad nxa kumanzi iyachelela, and then into eyenzakalayo lapha sengicabangela, I think yazochaya elinye lakhona LS2. After that ambonanga lutho.
Mandla Nkosi's story is all too familiar. Just one of those harrowing stories of the many that have been wheeled through these doors. In Mzilikazi, Bulawayo, near Mpilo Hospital, the second largest hospital in Zimbabwe, is the idyllic and befitting cocoon for the Workers' Compensation Rehabilitation Center. An unassuming, safe haven for maximum potential at the highest human attempt to restore the physical, social, and vocational status of injured workers. It is a cushion to a road towards life adapted to disability beyond the rehabilitation process, and nesting to the highest level of function, maximum independence, and an optimal quality of life for injured workers affected by paralysis of their legs and lower body. Today, however, we tell a different story, because once you are inside these walls, the journey becomes ours together. It is a start to a whole new life, a physical and psychological journey of healing, a path to forge new relationships, to face new opportunities with unimaginable possibilities.
Vhiri rebhazi randaidhiraivha rakadhuka ndiri pabridge ndikakuwara gumbo. Pandakuwara gumbo ndikabva ndarapwa kuAvenue Clinics. Ndichibva ipapa ibva ndienda over kunasi. Saka vakazondinyorerawo tsamba kuti ipinde muchirongwa chemacourses avaiva nayo. Saka pandakapinda muchirongwa ichocho ndokwandakatraina. Tinofanira kundoshanda tiri kwedu chaiko kumusha pagrowth point, tikavaka shop yakakura todivhaidha, ukweitwa shangu, ukweitwa mbasha. Kana zvichigona imwe line yova yetraining. Kana tazokura toisiya vazukuru navana, hama dzose dzofanira kutrainwa, because haungaregi vana vatete, vana sekuru vachishupika iwe uripo. Unovatora wovatraina. Kana vatraina vanoda kushanda nevanoshanda, vanoda kuenda kumabasa vanenge. Vanenge vasiri hama dzedu vanenge vachibhadhara. Kana vasina mari vanotipa ng'ombe.
Inini pandakabatwa nemushina hapana kana pain yandakambonzwa. Hapana kana kurwadziwa kana kuita sei. Nekufunga munhu wandashanda naye wakangozongouya kungofa mushina. Angazouya kuzondibvisa pandainga ndakutoramba kubva pamushina ipapo ndikandogadzikwa pasi. But zvandakangofunga panguva yacho iyoyo, ndakangofunga kuti mukadzi wangu chaito unosara nani, because ndakutofunga kuti pamwe ndakutofa chaiko. Zvepain unogona kungorwadza, indanda kuchirwadziwa mwoyo wangu chaiwo kuti zvandari zvino ndapinda busy. Hapana kana chakwanisa kuita sei. Pandazobatsirika naizvozvo ngepandakauya pano panhasi, ndakungoonawo vamwe vanonga vachingobatsirwawo, ndichitoonawo kuti situation iripo nezvandiriwo, ndichitofarawo ndizvo, ndichitoonawo vamwe. Ma-artificial legs anondibatsira zvikuru, because ndanisingazviki kuti ndichasvika paage iyoyo yekuti ndichafamba. Mafriend angu kubva pandakakuwara avanobvira vambondirasa. Ndakazvigamuchira zvekuti ndozvandari zvinezvi. Saka ndongotamba neiripo.
The Workers' Compensation Insurance Scheme is a scheme that covers workers against injury on duty. We are an institution that is meant to provide clinical rehabilitation services to all injured workers in Zimbabwe who have work-related injuries or diseases. We have got a capacity to do up to something like 200 clients every single day. So the benefits that we try and give, or the assistance that we try and give at the Rehabilitation Center, is aimed towards not only making sure that somebody is healed physically, but they are also being assisted for reintegration back to society, which includes, among other things, reskilling if need be, and a lot of counseling for people to accept their new condition or situation.
Right here where we are is the paraplegic unit, where it's a specialized unit where we train severely injured workers into activities of daily living, like feeding themselves, doing activities of daily living on their own. Because they have been injured, their lifestyle have been altered, so they have to adjust and be able to live in the community and survive. So we train them to prevent pressure sores, to bath in bed, to move around in wheelchairs. Psychologically, they are quite defeated. Yesterday, they were walking, they were going to work like me and you, but now they are wheelchair bound. They are bound to be depressed, stressed, some are suicidal. So when they come here, we do a lot of counseling.
Our main focus is on the functional aspect. We want them to function. We want them to go back to their community and be able to do things for themselves. We first of all try to restore the physical state of the client, but going further, then we train them in activities of daily living or train them new skills that they will require so that at least they'll be able to help themselves or able to work or to go back to work. Like, for example, we assess you and then deal with the particular area where you have a problem. And then if possible, we take you to the workplace and try to modify the environment so that at least you'll be able to work in that particular environment, or negotiate maybe with the employer so that at least maybe you can change the type of job and explain to the employer the limitations that are there on the individual patient.
Yeah, my life has changed so much. NSSA did renovations at my place at home, and I'm still going to work. NSSA is doing so much for me. Even I receive new chairs, new shoes every year, and I had an operation, I think 2018. They paid about 11,000 in USD. Yeah, so I'm so very grateful.
So we do our work assessments, we do simulated work. We also have a machine that we call the BTE simulator, which can actually simulate different types of jobs.
By being a simulator, it means it tries to mimic a person's job description. We actually look at a job, right? And then we look at the activities that a person does at their job. If it means standing, if it means pulling, if it means driving, all those activities is seen on the chart. We then put attachments on the BTE simulator to try to mimic what the person actually does on their job. We use various attachments. If, for example, a client is a driver, this is a steering wheel, we change this one. We put a steering wheel. If they are a driver, these ones can also work as brakes, for example. And then we grade and grade and grade. And even sometimes we combine them. Maybe the various pieces of machines to give us a certain activity that we want.
In occupational therapy, we use activities and different games. You'll be concentrating on the activity rather than the pain or the movement that he has to do. He's trying to move the ball around this maze up to the end, but at the same time, you'll be moving the ankle in different directions. So we are improving the movement on the ankle, the range of motion, and also the muscles of the leg. This client has a spinal cord injury and is recovering from that. So he has weakness of the lower limbs. So we are trying to strengthen those lower limbs. So you will be playing Toro while standing, and his endurance is very low. So you'll be standing and sitting and standing and sitting. But when he's concentrating on the Toro, you can actually stand for a longer period. This patient has amputation of both lower limbs. So what we'll be trying to do is to strengthen the upper limbs, because you will be using crutches for long periods. So he has to gain muscles of the upper limbs in order to be able to carry the weight when moving using crutches. And again, when he's not using crutches, he'll be using a wheelchair. We also want those muscles or the strength so that he'll be able to transfer to carry himself from the wheelchair to the floor to wherever he wants to transfer to.
In what has become their new home, the staff here also become family. The doctors, nurses, social workers, physiotherapists. Their sole mandate? To help patients and families understand their illnesses, treatment options, and hold their hand in this crucial time of starting a whole new life. The fear of loss of income due to disability is crippling and therefore a major component of the rehabilitation process. This makes vocational training at the center a must for injured workers who cannot work regularly or at all, and as well as those who must seek new occupations due to their limitations.
When the processes of physical rehabilitation have been done, we come in now to first of all engage with the employers with a view to want to facilitate the workers' return back to work. But considering the socio-economic environment as it stands in Zimbabwe at the moment, this, on a balance of probability, or in most cases, it fails. And when it fails, we take the candidate for vocational training. We have got 6 courses on the offering. We have got leather work, it runs for 6 months. We have got carpentry, it's the same. Metal work, the same. Tailoring, the same. Then we've got poultry and gardening, which runs for 3 months. But over and above that, we are also making a response to what is happening within the socio-economic environment. So you may realize that we've introduced some other shorter courses, like detergents making and food processing. It's one option. We have also introduced the aluminium fabrication. It's a short course. We've also introduced the interior decor. You know, in the traditional form, when you say tailoring, it's no longer the tailoring we used to know when we were growing up. It's the tailoring which is characterized with the interior decor and the others, which are the additions.
Training inondifadza nekuti so far ndatraina vamwe vanhu vakutora vanhu pagedhe kumafactory. Saka ndine vanhu vakatotenga dzimba kubva muruoko kwangu. PaNSSA takabatwa zvakanaka. Plus vakandidzosera kuti ndigone kuzviwanira ndega. Saka NSSA yakandibatsira chaizvo. Ikashepavo chido changu kusvikira pano. Saka zvofanira kutendwa izvozvo.
We are channeling resources, firstly to have centers originally where these trainees can actually come together and NSSA can establish facilities which they can use for marketing their wares and other income generating activities.
To say a man's home is his castle is an understatement. It is where he derives his protection, his place of refuge and safety. After a work injury or disability, the opposite can also be true. Hence the launch of Project Zimba, a NSSA initiative to construct customized houses for the disabled pensioners.
Asi ndinokutendai nezvamakandita NSSA ndaitendesa zvokuti Mwari dei ikaramba iripo isadzokere sure.
NSSA ndiyo hama yangu ikundibatsira kana murume wangu akarwara ndikachema kuna baba Tsomondo vanondiendesawo kumberi otambirawo zvichemo vachindibatsira kunzwa kufara.
In most cases, people go to town from the rural areas. They cannot afford their own place in town. They cannot afford to then build anything in the rural areas. So when the injury comes, they are not prepared either for town life or for rural life. And as a result, they almost become destitute. And NSSA is now coming to say, okay, fine, we can then go to your rural area and build a facility that you can then comfortably stay in. We will then provide the various amenities that you need to live comfortably.
Project Simba is very critical. In fact, NSSA has earned international awards because of the initiation of the project. We have now in Zimbabwe a statutory instrument which makes it compulsory for all disabled workers to have housing as one of the benefits which we provide under their social security mechanism. Project Zimbabwe is going to be expanded in all the regions. All affected workers will be catered for. If a person qualifies for that assistance, NSSA will provide that facility.
We have continued to operate under very harsh health conditions. Our doors remain open to NSSA beneficiaries as a free service and to private patients for a very nominal fee. And as part of the COVID-19 WHO guidelines, the centre has had to reduce the number of in- and outpatients in the last 2 years. In furthering our efforts to protect our patients, we no longer administer certain procedures such as spirometry for lung testing.
Bulawayo Center is a very well-managed center, well-equipped. We have quite a number of accidents that take place in workplaces. People fall ill, and a lot of the times they require to be rehabilitated so that they can regain their functionality, sometimes even partial functionality, so that they can have a decent life. We need to make sure that each of our regions has a rehabilitation center, and make sure also that they are well staffed with competent human capital, but also equipped with the necessary equipment for the work to be done properly.
This will soon be a reality. We want all disabled, injured employees attended to within their regions. We are committed not only to support the current rehab center, we are committed to expanding it and to ensuring that all Zimbabweans who are unfortunately incapacitated at work are properly catered for. NSSA will indeed live to its motto, and we will be there every minute, all the time, with our workers and beneficiaries.
The vision for NSSA is to create a trustworthy and seamless partnership with all of you, our stakeholders. This is to ensure that you can always look forward to bright and sunny days during and after your working life.
Makazviramba baba vangu mukati kwete mwana wangu, makazviramba baba vangu mukati kwete mwana wangu.